For those of you who are watching this video, what you don't realize is I'm sitting here with my daughter, Sarah, and Sarah is a hardcore StarCastle fan. Now, I feel a little bit like, an old soldier that, is going through this, what did you do in the war, Dad, kind of stories, because it's been such a long time ago. But because it's Sarah, it's my daughter whom I love, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Now, Fountains of Light was the StarCastle's second album, and my favorite StarCastle record is the first album, which is just called StarCastle, and I talked about that a little bit in another video, but on this one, I'm going to talk about Fountains. There are a lot of StarCastle fans that really like Fountains of Light best, and it certainly was a lot more elaborate in terms of the production and the production technique. We worked with Roy Thomas Baker as our producer on that record, and he had a very elaborate style or technique for recording vocal parts. He recorded some of those great Queen albums that used those very rich vocal harmonies, and I think he'd either invented or learned a lot during the recording of those records, and then he applied a lot of that to the StarCastle album. And he worked on both Fountains of Light and Citadel, those two records. But Fountains of Light was written while we were actually we were touring, and we were squeezing in rehearsal time to work on the different pieces, and we ended up working out the arrangements for these pieces. It was a very complex process because we went back and forth, we changed a lot of things, we added sections, removed sections. Eventually we got to the point where we could go into the studio, and when we met Roy for the first time, he had suggested a few changes, and we made some additional changes. And we went in with our equipment, we started recording the tracks, and then the way we did the vocals is many times we would all the singers in the group, 5 of us sang, and we would all sing all of the parts and do them like 8 times for each different part. So you wind up with hundreds of voices on especially the more elaborate sections. But, there's some great, very orchestral sounding pieces that are part of this album, Fountains of Light. I want to talk just a little bit about one of the songs that's on the Fountains of Light album, and it's really the song that established the name of the album, and it's called Fountains. It's the first piece that's on this record, and as a songwriter and a lyricist, I have used the metaphor of light, and I'll often talk about glowing. To me, it's a metaphor for just the core of life, and I feel like everybody has this inner presence that glows inside of them, and our challenge as people is to allow that inner light to glow and then to share that light with others. That's, to me, it's a responsibility that we all have to share that positivism with other people and let that light glow within us. So Fountains of Light was really kind of based on that idea. That was a piece that certainly lyrically and musically as well was very meaningful for me, and touched kind of a core creative idea that is carried through many, many songs that I've written over the decades now.